I'm gonna give a probably unpopular opinion. I ain't expect to get this spice early in the episode, but it's probably an unpopular opinion. The second generation of players are a bigger thing now that it's growing. It's becoming a trend, I guess you could say. So there is a negative side, I guess you call it a negative side that comes with it, where basically kind of like I just can't call anything but haters. You feel me? Like
Hmm.
people just hating on that next seed. So I was thinking, man, who has more pressure on them? Is it the sons of former NBA players? Like, does Bronny feel more pressure? Or Bronny's a high example, but Bronny, like Clay Thompson, the Curry boys, did Austin Rivers feel a lot of pressure because he was a high caliber player? Did Cole Anthony feel a lot of pressure, even though his dad wasn't, that level of player? Shaq and his son, do they feel more pressure and weight on them, or do like the Zions and the Melo Balls and those caliber guys, like the guys who kind of like come in with all this level of hype of just being so special? So do the sons of these great players have more pressure, or do like LeBron James is actually in the other category of this? Like the LeBron James from more pressure being like the chosen one or the next one up, the next guy. Which one
Hmm.
feels more pressure? So what do you think, man? Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome into one more episode of the BeBall Jones podcast. I'm your host, BeBall Jones. Here's your co-host, Nelson Haskins, your reigning defensive player of the Peach Belt Conference. Today, we have a little bit of an interesting discussion going on here, man. We have seen a big influx of, I guess you call it second generation, like hoopers coming in. We've seen the first generation of players come in, like the LeBron Jameses, the Currys, the Hardaways, of just first generation of players come in that did their thing or they're doing their thing right now in the league. Then their sons are coming in and coming behind them and having a respectable career, and they're doing their thing to get their own attention. And it's just the interesting thought that we're, or interesting phase that we're in right now in basketball, man. So the second generation of players are a bigger thing now that it's growing. It's becoming a trend, I guess you could say. So, what are your thoughts behind that, Nelson? Like, what do you think about like this influx of second generation hoopers coming in, following the dad's footsteps of being a basketball player and having pretty good success at it?
I think it's kind of cool. Mostly because like it keeps familiar names in the league. So
Mm.
like, I mean, obviously, there's always gonna be new stars arising and coming up in the league and stuff, and they'll become household names. But it's cool to see like guys like we watched play and like they came and went, and then their sons come in and they'll be like juniors or the seconds or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I remember like you have kind of a connection in a way to that play because it's like, oh, I saw that guy's dad play. You know,
Hmm.
I'm sure like older guys that are watching feel that way about like Gary Payton the second. Cause it's like, dang, boy, I saw your daddy. Your daddy was the real deal, and now you in the league. Same thing for like
Hmm.
Tim Hardaway Jr. So it keeps familiar names in the NBA to where like you guys feel somewhat of a connection to those players, And it's like, ain't no wrong with being a second generation NBA player and you don't have your daddy's name. Like you don't absolutely have to, obviously. But it's just kind of cool to see that connection of like, man, I saw Kenyon Martin play and now I see Kenyon Martin Jr. But it's just it's a cool little thing for fans, I think, and it's good for the league to keep like familiar names going and like have a connection between generations. So I think it's a good thing that most NBA players should try to keep going at least. I ain't saying everybody NBA son got to be a junior or a second, like I said, but it connects generations in that way. So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's dope to see, um, because like it's a newer thing, but it makes more sense now because basketball's at a place where it's more of a want to rather than a kind of a need to situation. So, you seeing kids that are coming up out of the love and the strength of just like, man, I want to make my dad proud. I want to be like my dad. And it's a cool thing to see because you see it in other industries where you see, for example, like Chick-fil-A, they had, so the guy's running it right now, name is Dan Cathy. So his dad started or his mom started one a generation before him started, and then business got passed down to him. And he's passing the business down to the third generation now. So it's dope to see. Like you see all the time where you have the founder of a business, they pass it down to their son. And basketball is a little bit different, but it's dope to see like the torch being passed down from one generation of players to their sons coming up and following their footsteps, man. So like I said, it's fun to see like we're at a place now where we're seeing LeBron go through the league. We lived in at some point, see the end of his career, and to possibly more likely see his son come up and be the second coming of the James family in the NBA. Like that's gonna be dope to see, man. So, like you said, for the Gary Paytons and the Tim Hardaway to say, even Scottie Pippen, you feel me? Like, see, dad, he did his thing, man. He was a hooper in the league, man. It's cool to see Junior come along or the next wave, whoever it is, come along and see, man. So, I think that's respectable, man. But um, there is a negative side, I guess you call it a negative side that comes with it, where basically kind of like I just can't call anything but haters. You feel me? Like
Hmm.
people just hating on that next seed, the second coming, the second generation of ballers coming up.
I do think it comes with a level of haters, so that is very much of a downside, especially to the one and only LeBron James' son. Because I feel like everybody ain't gonna have that level of it because it's Bron's son. If Bron got plenty of haters, like as we know, the most haters in the NBA, probably the most haters in sports, minus like a Lionel Messi or a Neymar or something like to where a whole country might hate you, like because that's just how soccer is. But Braun probably got the most hate is like has the probably the most haters out of every professional athlete in America. And he get a
Mhm.
lot of love too. I ain't trying to say he don't, but we know. And
Yeah.
then he got a son that also who so naturally a lot of that go towards him. And I'm pretty sure Braun probably like sat down with his son at some point and like tried to tell him and prepare him like, hey son, like as long as you're doing this, you gonna have people that like don't want you to succeed, just being real. And so it does come with a little bit of a downside. But um I do think most of these guys get what they deserve. Like at the end of the day, like Bronny, I think Bronny does deserve like his McDonald's All American because it's like he's performing, and I get it. Like we just see the Bleacher Report highlights and stuff, and House of Highlights be posting them all that good stuff. But Bronny really be hooping. Like he's a hooper, and Sierra Canyon is a tough place. Like that, they playing a nationally ranked schedule, and Bronny start like he's hooping.
Hmm.
So like it's not like he's just playing for no name high school in the middle of Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like he playing for Sierra Canyon, which is like a nationally ranked high school in basketball, and they playing a nationally ranked schedule. So
Hmm.
the fact that he's performing is a big deal. So he deserves his McDonald's All American, and I don't see it just being just because of his father. So, um, but I mean, it's gonna be like that. People gonna always think like that when it's him, because that's just how people are. Like, you named after LeBron James. Like, you ain't even got your own name. You LeBron James Jr. I mean, we call you,
Hmm.
bro, but your government name is LeBron James Jr. So it's like people gonna just always believe whatever you get. Like, if you walked into the store and was like, man, I ain't even got no money, they say, yeah, man, just take the candy bar. They gonna be like, man, you only did that because that LeBron son. Like, people can't just, you know, people can't never just let you have stuff. So
Yeah.
that's just how it's gonna be for him. And it's unfortunate that people do that. But I mean, I'm pretty sure he prepared for it at this point. Cause like he getting ready to go to college now soon. So I mean, he should know what the deal is by now. That as long
Yeah.
as you carry that name, it's gonna be people that don't really rock with you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it is what it is, though.
So I'm gonna give a probably unpopular opinion. I ain't expect to get this spice early in the episode, but it's probably an unpopular opinion.
Mm.
Um, I celebrate and love the fact, like for example, you just said LeBron's son or whoever's son gonna get passes and advantages simply because he's LeBron's son. I love that because we've been seeing other races and other cultures get the same exact thing for generations. So now we're finally in a position to do the exact same thing, and I love it. So yes, it's just in basketball, but I could care less. Like I'm gonna split it up in two halves, but I love this part. I could care less that. So for example, a lot of people clown Zaire. This is Dwayne Wade's son. He came through. He went to Sierra Canyon for I think 2 years. I think um, he went and did prep school for a year, and he got picked up by the Utah Jazz's G League team, which people don't know. D Wade is minority order of the Utah Jazz, and people clowned it because it was like, oh, he only got in because D Wade's a minority order, and he pulled strings to get him in there. And I was like, that's probably true. Not gonna lie. I'm not trying to sit here and say Zaire is just like this phenomenal athlete. He just hands down is a pro. I'm not gonna say that. But there is a level of work ethic and talent you have to even be considered for that, which he qualified for, obviously, because his name was mentioned in this realm of players. So if off the strength of my name or D Wade's name, I can pull my son up there and do it, by all means do it. We've seen for generations people we've known worked harder get skipped over because you buddy with him, or your dad's buddy with him, or that's their son and nephew, whatever. So we found a position to do the same thing, and I love it. So by all means, get your son in a position where he can make some money and do what he like to do for a living. By all means. So if Bronny gets a chance to get this close to the NBA and Brun's push to get him in there, by all means do it. I love it. So if anybody has a problem with that, I'll celebrate even more, because we have seen other generation, other cultures do the exact same thing in other realms in their business or industry, whatever, because your pops runs the business, he gets you in as a job, or because your uncle runs this business and that's your favorite uncle, you his favorite nephew, he squeezes you in. Now you're the next person in line to run the business, and I love it because now we're in a position to finally do that. So cool, by all means, do it. But I'm gonna flip it to the other side of it, where I'm not gonna sit here and just say completely throw them in because they're junior or they're the son or whatever. Like, now there's a level of disrespect that comes because you feel like he is completely um undeserving of it. He's only getting it because that's their son, or that's, the junior or whatever. That's disrespecting all the years of hard work that he put in and trained to even be qualified for it. So this man stayed up late nights, early mornings, before and after practice, getting all this stuff in to just be like inches away from being qualified like the other players would. Excuse me. And so if dad can be the last little 5%, 10%, whatever to get their son in there, by all means do it. Because we have seen the exact same thing in other fields for generations. So I'm not gonna sit here and be a hater and say, man, that was me, man. Da, 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 da. Well, it's not me. Guess what? Now it's on me to get into that position like LeBron is in to do that for somebody else. So on one hand, I love it because we are replicating what we've seen other people do. But on the other hand, I disrespect the son's talent and work ethic to get to that position to even be close to being qualified. So that's why I stand with this discussion of it. Because once again, I've personally seen, but we've heard plenty of stories of where this person is obviously on paper more qualified, got the degrees and all this stuff. But simply because of the bloodline connection or the buddy connection, your dad played golf with him, their buddies. Hey, get my son in. Oh, I got you, Bobby. Let's see what you can do. He could suck. He could be terrible at it. He has no qualifications whatsoever. The only qualification he has is because my dad knows you. That's it. So now we found a position to have the same authority and power. By all means, do it. So I know that's probably not the most popular opinion. Like, everybody might not agree with it, but I completely love it, bro. So if Bronny's not qualified to be All American, then hey, more power to you, my G. I'm gonna salute you either way, because you working, bro. It's not like you just a bum and you just out of shape and you ain't doing nothing, bro. Like you said, you go to Sierra Canyon, bro. Like, it ain't just some. And like, no offense to Alabama, ain't like you hooping in just Alabama competition. We ain't got the most prestigious basketball state like that. Like,
Right.
we ain't got no national ranked teams like that for real, man. We got, on the girls side, we got a couple teams, but on the guys side, we ain't got no teams like that in Alabama. So he's playing nationally ranked teams, televised games. They're traveling, like they're playing against real competition, bro. Like, they're playing against other future pros. Like, he's showing out doing his thing. And so I just feel like, man, give all the respect and power to those people in those positions. So we found a position to do that. I'm gonna salute and congratulate her. Keep doing it. So that's how I feel about the situation.
I did not think about it like that. I mean, that's valid. That's a valid opinion to have. You definitely right. We've seen different cultures and different like people do those same things for their kids, their family, their friends, buddies, whatever. So you definitely got a point, man. I mean, it's phrase for that. It's called nepotism, baby.
Mm,
Because like helping somebody, like I forgot the actual like dictionary term, but like nepotism is like basically like helping your like kids or like your kids advancing because of you or something like that because of something their parents have done basically. And so like they call kids like that nepotism babies.
mm,
And so I mean, but there are plenty of that phrase was initially made for like other cultures because it was like, oh, he's just a nepotism baby, like his dad run the business, this and that.
mm-hmm,
And so now we are getting to a place where we have nepotism children, and like you're
mm-hmm,
right, like we got every right to do that. Like y'all had these same leg ups in different fields in different areas, so can't be upset about it now. I mean, do that make 100% right? No, but like it, life ain't fair, basically. Like you said,
yeah.
other people been doing it for years, and it's about time for us to give our people and our kids the same opportunity. So that's your part of it. But yeah, man, I'm not mad at none of that. Like even if, like you said, like if Bronny didn't deserve it, I'm not mad. Like either way, I think, like you said, if he don't deserve it, he close. Cause it's
Mm-hmm,
like what I said, like he's playing a crazy, like he's playing for a great team. So and he's a key piece. So it's like okay, maybe he's not technically as talented as another player on somewhere playing somewhere else, but you got to put respect on what he does do.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? It's not like like you said, like he just playing nobody and he's LeBron's son.
yeah.
And so like I remember people was like talking about Mikey Williams, who is another high school superstar right now. If you don't know, everybody was like Mikey Williams not an All American, but LeBron's son is. That's crazy. This and that. And I'm like, I mean, Mikey Williams is really good, but they left him off the list. Like, what you want to say? Like, and you can't even act like you can't act like LeBron's son took his spot because Mikey got just as many videos on House of Highlights as Bronny. Like, if you really want to get down to it, like I see just as much Mikey Williams as I see Bronny sometimes. So you
Mm-hmm,
can't be like, oh, they just shorted Mikey Williams to put LeBron on it. Like, it's plenty of guys on that All American list that I've never heard of. So let's not act like they just like, oh, well, we can only put one social media kid on there. Like, come on, man. So
mm-hmm,
I think people just kind of need to get over that. It's like it is what it is. They made the decision, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like if they would have had Mikey Williams on there and not Bronny, that wouldn't have been like a crazy like. I don't think nobody would have been upset at that. I mean, people might have been upset that Bronny wasn't on there, but vice versa, Bronny on there, Mikey not. People upset that Mikey not. So
mm-hmm.
can't we have a loser? That's what I say. So at the end of the day, they make the decision, and I don't think no one should be mad at that unless you just a Bronny fan or a Mikey fan, or a Bronny hater or a Mikey fan type stuff. So I like there was no right or I don't think there was a right or wrong decision, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's I love this discussion, bro, because I would gladly take this stance every time, man, because we have seen that for so long, man. And I feel like more than likely, either A, the people who are complaining about it are people from those cultures and ethnicities and stuff that have benefited from it.
Mm,
And or if they are from us, they don't view it like that. And I think there might be a third piece who are truly noble and like you said, oh, it's not fair. Well, it's very true. It's probably not fair, and I agree with you. But it has not been fair for generations. So let's keep this unfairness all the way around. Let's keep it 360 now. It's been it's been 280 for so long. Let's keep it 360 now. Like it's been a percentage of people that's been cut out and not be able to do this. It's not to go 360. Let everybody be able to do it. Because you've
yeah,
seen where the Jewish and the Hispanics come over here, They build the foundation, the ground layer. They put their family like, hey, cuz, come over here now. Hey, uncle, come over here now. Yo, come over here now. They take up a whole block. Everybody running the block now. Jewish did that, like I said, Hispanics did that for so long. And we see other nationalities and ethnicities and people who climb the ranks. They're the owner, start a business or whatever. They're in higher positions. Hey, Junior, finna retire in about 2 years. Come learn the business and I hand it to you. So hey, Bronny, you hooping? You doing your thing? Well, what team you trying to get to? All right, let me pull some strings. See what I can do. By all means, do it, bro. Like the reason why part of us hate it is because we're the ones in that position now, and it's because it's the most um one of the most glamorized positions at this point because it's entertainment, it's sports.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's saying that with Denzel Jr. with his son.
Facts.
I mean, it's saying it, but it's not as loud. You know, like I feel like acting is one of the hardest careers to get into, man. But it's just crazy that and I think part of it because, like you said, it's Brian. He's one of the most hated people in sports right now. So, but I love this discussion, man. I love seeing people will let other people get on and celebrating them, man. So I love it, bro.
Nothing wrong with it, man. Hey, they say life is fair because it's unfair to everybody. So
Mm,
let's keep, if it's gonna be unfair, like let's let it be unfair for everybody. So you definitely got a fair point. Like I'm not mad at Bronny being on the list. I'm not mad at Bronny getting everything he got. You know what I'm saying? And one day we gonna really see like, okay, is Bronny like NBA level, whatever. We gonna see eventually, just like we see with Zaire. Like they'll say, oh, his daddy D Wade pulled a string so he can be on G League team. Okay, but it ain't like Zaire starting for the Utah Jazz. His daddy can't make that happen for him. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So eventually we gonna see how good he really is. So y'all say what y'all want to. Like if y'all was really right, like one day Mikey might be an all pro, I mean, whatever, all NBA player. Being and he might be great. And Bronny not what we say he is. One day he might not, and that's okay. But
Hmm.
this high school stuff, like let's let that go. You know what I'm saying? We gonna eventually see who's the better player in the long run. And it don't matter who LeBron is, who Michael Jordan's son played for the University of Central Florida. And he was a solid player, averaged like 12 points a game. And no one says, oh, he only got the UCL because of his daddy. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But at the end of the day, he had a solid career as a college basketball player, and that was it. His daddy couldn't. His daddy, Michael Jordan, this man ain't played an NBA game yet. So like y'all say all y'all want to about, oh, they only got this because they dad, they only got this because of who their father is. Like they can only get so far. Like at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So I mean, just chill. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. But yeah, just chill, man. It's not the end of the world. Like LeBron didn't make him the commissioner of the NBA. Like everybody just calm down. Like he's a good
Yeah,
basketball player. So we gonna see in the long run how good he really is.
yeah. And this is the last piece I want to say about that too. It's just like Bronny has been raked. Like he is,
Ben right.
yeah, he's like top 10 in point guards, and I think he's top 20 overall, 20 or 30 overall of his class. So it ain't like he's just top 100 and he just getting randomly pulled in. Like, come on, man. Like he's been ranked for a minute now. So okay, think about it this, like you just said, it's going to even out. So if he began off being ranked whatever, at some point in time, he's getting knocked down if he sucked. There's no way you rank top 10 in point guards and you just trash like that. Let's say he should have been 15 and he's 10. Okay, he's still top 20. Like he has to have a level of work ethic and skill to be at whatever level he's at. So what if his dad bumps him up a couple points? It's going to be okay. Like you said, long
Exactly.
time we're gonna look back at it and say, man, Bronny might not have deserved All American, but oh well. Okay, we're not even gonna be tripping off that for real. And if you want to be right that bad, then congratulations, you can be right. Like I don't care that much, but it's whatever, man. So it's not that you're mentally weak. It's just that you don't really understand where your mental toughness is. You don't understand where exactly you're mentally strong at. It's even crazy. You probably don't even really understand what mental toughness actually is. And I don't blame you because usually we just have coaches yelling at us and fussing at us saying, hey, be mentally tough. You're being weak right now. You're being soft right now. But it's not the full scope, and it doesn't give you any true understanding of what mental toughness is and how you can get better at it. And so I'm here to help you guys out. Because just imagine I gave you a pill right here in my hand. Just imagine. And within that pill, it gave you just a epiphany where you just brain just blew up and you're just like, oh my goodness, you got so much better understanding. Now your game just grows by 10x and you just a whole different person now. Bro, I got the pill for you right here. Never fear. B's Mental Toughness Playbook ebook is here. You feel me? So in this whole little playbook I got for you, just a small little ebook, it breaks down the mental game of understanding what mental toughness is in different areas of what your mental toughness is and how you can actually grow it and get better and enhance it. So, look in the link, look in the description, and to go ahead and purchase it and do yourself a favor by just understanding what mental toughness actually is and also understanding how you can actually grow it and what you need to get better at it. So, just the Mental Toughness Playbook, small little ebook. I'm just trying to tell you, hey, can't say I didn't warn you. Anyway, man, let's zoom back out of this one instead of just focusing on this handful of people. But I think it's dope, man, just to see NBA players have their sons come up, man. And so, like, what do you think attributes or what goes into this being a bigger thing now? Like, what are the factors that you think play a role into their sons being in the NBA now? Like, of course, it's bigger than just daddy pulling strings to get into there. Like, but what plays a role into a son being kind of like groomed or prepared in a way to be able to say, I'm a pretty great basketball player too?
Um, so I think it's three things that go into like NBA player passing on like NBA level talent, whatever. Their sons being NBA level. I think it's three things that really go into it. Number one, obviously, is genes. Like, okay, I'm a world class athlete. You're my son. You're gonna have some of them genes. You probably gonna be an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just number one. Like, and that happens. This is like LeBron's son. He athletic, crazy. Like, and then you got shoot, not even just athleticism. Manute Bol's son. Manute Bol 7'6", Bol 7'6". Crazy. Like some stuff just genes. Like their daddy gave it to her. That's what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
number one is genes. Number two is, money. Like that part of it. Like, and not just money in the sense of like he paid for them to be in the NBA. Like he can pay for whatever they need to be great. Like
Mm-hmm.
they probably had basketball courts at their house, or like shoot, their daddy was in the NBA, so they can get in the gym whenever type stuff. They go into a great school, great program, whatever. They can afford to go to play for a great team. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, Braun was in Cleveland and Bronny was going to school in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's money. You know what I'm saying? Like he had the ability to send his kids to a great school. And like now they can play for a world class program, play a nationally ranked schedule, stuff like that, get all the exposure they need. Now you got national exposure, and you playing against tough competition, so you're getting better. So that's number two, just having the money and like resources to get their kids better and put them in a prime position. And then
Mm-hmm.
number three, knowledge. They can pass on the knowledge of what it takes to get to that level. Like, okay, son, you want to be in the NBA, this is what you need to do. Because they've done it. And
Mm-hmm.
the game is different now and all that, but it's certain things about getting to the NBA that like only an NBA player will really be able to teach you, you know? And it's like now you understand what it takes to be a pro. You understand what it takes to like maintain your body. You understand what it takes to manage your money, all that good stuff. So now you go from like the age old story of like a kid that came from nothing. Now you're a millionaire because you made it to the league. Now it's like, oh, well, my dad's been here. He told me what this was gonna be like. I've seen this before. I've been in the NBA locker room. I've been on the NBA court. I know how this gets. Whatever. Of course, he can't tell you everything. Some of the stuff you're gonna be at the experience, but now you have knowledge of how the NBA game works, how the pro game works. Know how to manage your money, how to pick an agent, stuff like that, to where you can, get the most out of your career. So those are the three main things that like having an NBA father will like do for you. Like you'll have, you know, you gonna have great genes just given to you out the gate, and like being a world class athlete father, you know, you might be a world class athlete. You know, it's part of, you
Mhm.
know, it's a lottery, but you most likely gonna get it. And then, you know, money and resources to make you better and put you in prime position to be successful. And then the knowledge of the game, knowledge of how what to do at in these positions, know how to play the game, know how to get to the next level, how to conduct yourself, how to get the most out of your career, how to make the most money. You know,
Mhm.
so those are the main things having an NBA dad would really do for you, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about it in different terms, and just same thing, kind of different way. But
Mhm.
besides genetics, because that's kind of like
They
obvious,
given.
like, given. Like you can't help but get genetics from your dad when your dad, like you said, Bo, the Bo family, like both 7 footers. Like that's not something you can work on, bro. If that was the case, you see a lot more 7 footers in the game. Like, come on now. So, but I think it comes down to exposure and environment. So when I say that, it's so we all remember seeing the videos of Steph Curry sitting in his dad, Dale Curry's lap when he was a little boy, and just at the NBA bench, right?
Hmm.
But that's a very small synopsis or a very small moment of what the life is. So, and basically, anytime they're in Charlotte, 42 times of the year, you're sitting and being around. That's really minimum. Like you're around NBA talent at 8 years old.
Hmm.
That level of exposure mentally of how to play basketball is totally different. Like, and that's just not Steph Curry. Like, Steph was there too, but because of Steph, you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you're being exposed to high caliber players on the regular. You're seeing high caliber basketball on the regular. That exposure is something different that his teammates might not be getting because yeah, your teammates might be having money because you got a prestigious school. So like Barney, for example, like yeah, you got a school with a lot of money and you can hoop, but you weren't courtside watching your dad break the all time scoring record. Like you're not sitting at the NBA locker room with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook. Like I'm in the locker room with these guys chopping it up. Like I can call these people and learn from them if I really want. You know what I mean? Like that's a level of exposure that you just can't help but get from that benefit of having your dad be there. So that's one part of exposure, is like mentally seeing that skills at such a young age. But it's also the
Hmm.
environment and um, being around basketball and groomed into it. And so you're seeing, like, you grow up seeing a man with a high level of work ethic and being professional and handling stuff. At a certain point, you don't get it because you're a kid, but once you get to a certain age, it's like, oh, my dad is LeBron James. Wow. Okay. Like when you a kid, it's like, oh, that's my dad, man. We all had that, with our parents or family members. Like, oh, this is mom and dad. You don't see nothing special about them. It's just mom and dad. But you hit a certain age when it's like, oh, my dad used to be that. My mom used to be who? Oh, my dad was Dwayne Wade, like the greatest he ever. Oh, wow, that's crazy. So that switch flips, and it's like, oh, that's I'm exposed to that type of greatness. I'm around that type of environment. Oh,
My
okay,
dad's a
all
big
right.
deal.
My dad's a pretty big deal. But at the exact same time, nah, I don't care about what you say, bro. That's dad. You know what I mean? So we all gonna have that for our parents, man. But the environment of being around NBA players on a regular does something to you. And like you said, it goes down to money too, because um, so like Gilbert Arenas, right? His son's a pretty good hooper. But at a certain point, Gil probably stopped training his kid and it's like, yo, I'm gonna throw you to a trainer, bro. And the average kid won't have the money to get the trainers that he can get exposed to. And the level of consistency of training. Like he's probably getting high level training every day
Mm,
versus average kids are probably getting decent level training, pretty, I'm not saying high quality, but it's good quality training a couple times a week. You feel me? So
right.
it's like, that's totally different, bro. Like it's the quality of training you're getting alone is going to be a gap because you're exposed to like Jason Tatum, right? His Jason Tatum's trainer is like one of the GOAT tier NBA trainers, like period. So Deuce You're going to be exposed to that at a young age. So like you can't help but be in a quality environment, quality training. Like just that's just a given.
Mm.
And so like both of those things combined, I feel like what plays a role into like the next generation of player becoming who they are, because you're in an environment and you're exposed to this high level of environment of greatness around you all the time, man. So like we all seen like dudes who live around the gym and stuff. They do hoop for they playing different leagues and stuff. Or they just like go to the gym, hoop and shoot around, bro. Like, and their sons are with them because I'm on daddy duty right now, so I have my son with me. So they're exposed in an environment of basketball. So more than likely, they're gonna get bored of the game at some point. The battery gonna die. Well, let me pick up basketball and see what he's talking about. And you got a
Mm.
couple other kids playing, so now you're around that environment and you're exposed to it more. Well, I'm being around my dad. My dad gonna be in the gym, so of course I'm gonna be around this too. And so it's like it's a given of both of that. But I think the kind of difference is the quality of the environment, the quality of the exposure is what the difference is sometimes, man. So I feel like those are the two things that really make the difference in why you see NBA players' son becoming who they are. So like they're exposed to it and it's at a very high level, and the environment that they're in is at a very high level. So like that's why you see certain people who grow up in entrepreneurial business households more than likely end up having their own business too. Like their brain is just trained and wired differently than their friends because their friends are raised with 9 to 5 mindset people. Not knocking either one, but it's just like what they're exposed to, and the environment that
Mm.
they're in. So but those two things are what make um, the reproduction of an NBA player in whatever household we're talking about.
Yeah, the exposure thing is definitely big because I remember thinking, um, quick story. So like we mentioned, basketball in Alabama is not the best. Alabama high school basketball at least. Neither is the JUCO scene really in grand scheme of like the whole country. Like basketball, I can tell you, basketball is biggest in Texas, New York, California, uh, some parts of Florida. Like that's where,
Chicago,
yeah, Chicago and Georgia is pretty big in
the
basketball.
DMV.
Yeah, and yeah, the DMV area. Those are big basketball places, you know. So Alabama's not in there. Alabama's big football place. Alabama, Tennessee, Texas still big in football too. Uh, Stuff like that. Those are the big football states. So me and you, Alabama raised. So I'm in high school, and I remember this conversation with my homeboy. Asking me like my senior year of high school. He was asking me like going to college and playing basketball and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go play college basketball somewhere. He was like, you think you're gonna go D1? I'm like, I don't know. It's gonna depend on what offers I get, this and that. I hope I go. And then this is what I said. I remember saying it, and I feel dumb looking back on it now that I said this, and you'll understand this. I was like, if I don't go D1, I'll probably end up going JUCO because I know at the end of the day I could play for Shell. For those who don't know, Shell is a junior college, Shell State Community College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I was
Mhm.
like, hey, if I don't get no D1 offers or whatever, I can go play for Shell. Shell did not even offer me in high school. Come to find out, Shell was the Kentucky of Alabama basketball, JUCO basketball.
Mhm.
I didn't even know because I had not even researched it, looked it up, nothing. I'm just assuming that because it's JUCO and Shell was like the closest JUCO to me, I'm like, okay, I know I go play there.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize like the competition I was playing against was nowhere near as good as the competition that Shelton was recruiting. You know what I'm saying? Like they not just recruiting guys at Alabama.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking because they right down the road in Tuscaloosa, like, oh, I can go play for them. No big deal.
Mhm.
Did not even offer me. I had like 4 JUCO offers, and Shelton was not one of them.
Mhm.
So that lets you know, like, um, exposure is a big thing. Like, I didn't know how good Shelton was until I had to play against him,
Mhm.
and like that's kind of how it is. So like, it's like guys that come up in that culture of like having an NBA dad. They're in the locker room NBA guys. They're at NBA games on the regular. seeing the best of the best. They might be in their workouts, might be in their practices, whatever. Like they're exposed to a lot of good basketball at an early age. So they know, they see what it's like. They can see how good guys really are. And then then they probably go play basketball with kids their own age, and it's like, oh man, like this is nothing like what I seen my dad do or what those guys do. And then they probably get in there and doing stuff that they know their dad does, like or they taught them, and they probably be
Mhm.
killing their own age group because it's like they're ahead of them. Kids that are 8 years old probably don't even watch the NBA. They just like
Mhm.
basketball and play it for fun. And then here you go, LeBron James Jr. Like, oh, I see my dad do this step back, tray ball, and the other kids probably like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So that exposure is real. And side note, the people that shown later on in my career told me that they should have recruited me. I just want to throw that in there. But but yeah, man. That exposure is a big deal. So getting exposed to good basketball and good competition is a huge plus for some people that people don't really think about.
Mhm. Yeah, I believe not to make this whole thing about exposure, but exposure will recalibrate everything about you. For
You'll know where you stand.
it'll either raise you up or lower you back down. It'll humble you one way or another.
Hmm.
So let's say it's bruh, like same thing as a kid, bruh. It's so many kids here, like we went to school with, bruh. It's just like, well, I'll just go to UAB and go hoop. You was talking about Shelton. We had to do something about UAB.
D1, my boy, you just gonna go D1?
Oh, you just going, well, I can't go to Kentucky, so I guess I'll go to UAB.
You know how you sound, boy. You'll know if you was going to UAB. They'll
UAB
tell you.
UAB is not a settling place, my guy. You don't settle for UAB. That's not how it works here, bro. There's only a handful of people we had here who would settle. Like Eric Bledsoe would have said, Kentucky, Duke. I guess I just go to UAB. I want to stay at home, so I'll go to
Gonna
UAB.
stay at the crib.
That's
Yeah.
that's settling. Okay. We are blessed and lucky and so fortunate to have UAB wink at us. All right. So it's just
Facts.
it's
If a
the
coach from
exposure.
UAB shake my hand and say you had a good game tonight, I'm running with it.
I'm not washing that hand for a week, my guy. I'm taking all that D1ness. I'm just rubbing it all over my clothes, rubbing to my shoes, and hopefully I can start hooping like a D1 player, man. But you talking about lack of exposure, boy. People from people from around here, it's just I just if I can't make it Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, I just go down the road to
Join
UAB.
UAB.
I just Georgia might call, Tennessee might call, Bama, Auburn, but if they don't call like I want them to, man, I just settle for UAB. Talk about the D1 school UAB. The D1 just obviously kick UAB out instead of going D3. Is that what happened? Did that happen out the blue? Because last time I checked, UAB's always been UAB, at least for my lifetime.
You must be talking
So
about a different UAB, like University of Arkansas Baptist or something. like, like can't be talking about Alabama Birmingham. You just
no,
can't.
sir, nah. So that was just funny to hear about, man. But exposure will, like I said, humble you or bring you up real quick. So let's say um, one of our Alabama people go out to Texas, right? It's one of a closer who. Let's just say Georgia. We don't even go all the way up to Texas. Let's go Georgia, a nice place in Georgia,
Mhm.
Atlanta or surrounding areas. You will be humbled very, very quickly with the high quality of caliber that hoopers that Georgia has put out. The most
Mhm.
recent one, the biggest one that comes to mind right now is Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards,
Mhm.
one of the A's finalists right now. Like Southside. That Anthony Edwards is not the only Anthony Edwards. Let's be completely real about this. Anthony Edwards is not the only Anthony Edwards to be in Georgia when he was around hooping. And I'm pretty sure he got more of them right now.
Mhm.
So if you think you all that, slide over to there and we'll see. The equalizer will happen very, very quickly. If you can hoop on that caliber of field, we will see. And we will see if you cannot hoop. Just exposure will happen. So kind of like we're saying about Bronny, he's hooping against high caliber players all the time. So he's been exposed or lack thereof of exposure because we've seen high caliber of players. Like so, exposure will do it to you, man. But boy, folks thought they were selling for UAB, man. Oh man.
No, that's crazy. Shell was one thing. You said UAB. That's crazy. Settling D1, my boy. You must be going to Duke. Like, you just gotta be. Like, well, come on now. But yeah, that's funny. Just to give y'all
Oh.
like context of like um the differences and like not even exposure, like talent.
Mhm.
Can you name me a basketball player in the NBA right now from Alabama besides DeMarcus Cousins? Yeah, because he kind of not in the league right now. I don't know what team you play for.
Can I name you?
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Well, kind of,
Herb
not really.
Jones. I give you Herb Jones, of course, my boy.
So Boogie's semi out. Bledsoe is overseas right now. So we got Hurd. You sound from Alabama, like born and
From
raised.
born and raised Alabama.
Okay, you made it a little bit harder. But Herb
Yeah,
Jones,
Herb Jones.
um, Christian Walford, not Christian Walford, Trendon Walford. He
Trendon
is
Watford. Yeah,
Trailblazers G
Houston
League.
Trailblazers. Yeah, I
Uh,
said Houston.
he's G League ish, so he's in that realm.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure there's somebody else that I just can't think of right now. I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I'll say about four. There's about four people from Alabama. I'm just forgetting the other two. Thinking about it.
All right, so you just named two basketball players, like off the top of your head, granted, but you
Mm-hmm.
just named two basketball players in the NBA from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, this past weekend, as we recording this, there was two basketball players from the state of Georgia in the All Star game. Jalen Brown and Anthony Edwards, both in the All Star game. Georgia is putting out NBA players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a couple of them. Anthony
Mm-hmm.
Edwards, Jalen Brown, Grant Williams, I think, Colin Sexton. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
Georgia NBA players out here. And it's like, that's just the differences. And, Alabama's just kind of behind in the basketball scene. Football, we putting out some football players. We know that. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just part of the deal right now. So we are a football state. This is more of a basketball state. But to make y'all feel better, my Alabama people, I am from Alabama. I don't want y'all to think, oh, dang, bro, we just suck. So let me give y'all this now so y'all know. I've been in Columbus for 3 years now, so I've been playing basketball in Georgia, like on the college level. But I've been in Georgia for 3 years now. And I can say this: the guys from Alabama play harder and play better defense, or play harder on defense, give more effort on defense than most of the guys I've seen play from Georgia on the college level. So y'all do it that with y'all will. They'll condition us to play hard and grind, like hustle, defense, all that good stuff, extra effort. And in Georgia, it's kind of a little more like, more about the offensive side of things. They're a little more skilled. They got a little more training, all that good stuff. So they're a little more skilled than some of the Alabama players. And that's, that happens. That's cool. But when it comes to this other side of the flow, and I got G14 classification to speak on this, as I was defensive player of the year of this league. So, and I'm from Alabama. So y'all are welcome. I came over here, I represented. I ain't got but a couple more games left. Need some of y'all to start representing. Like, next generation of Alabama hoopers. I would like some of y'all to come over here and, figure this out. But nah, in all seriousness though, in my experience, Alabama basketball players have given us a little more hustle, a little more grind, and a little more of a chip on our shoulder type of play than the guys in Georgia have sometimes. A lot of times. A lot of times they're a little more fancy with it, like a little more skill, a little more offensive oriented. And I guess that's just kind of the cultures that we come out of.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all take that information, do what y'all will. So don't feel like, oh man, like we just suck because we from Alabama. Like, no, I ain't saying that. You might just have to work a little harder, and you got to know what you're good at. And I guarantee you, if you a college level basketball player from Alabama, you probably grind harder than a lot of guys in other states. That's just the culture you came up in. So take that and run with it. Make yourself as good as you want to be. So that's my little 2 cents on that. So
Yeah. I'll kind of throw in on that and just not to say we're more athletic because obviously like we're all lumped in the South together just like freak athletes. Like for that reason, we just something in the water down here, the cornbread and greens. We just come out more athletic, bigger, stronger, faster. Like this is what we have. But like you said, like the states who have a little bit better training and coaching around them are going to be more skilled because we're not as well coached and trained and groomed and stuff. We're just going to rely on our athleticism and our bodies to get us by, which is kind of feeding into what you were saying of how you had to hustle your way there, bro. Like you had no choice but to outwork and out hustle folks. So that's kind of feeding into why we're in that situation. So to kind of also redeem ourselves, I looked up other players who were. So JD Davison,
Oh
he
yeah, JD, Celtics G League,
yeah, he's in the G League. And Kira Lewis,
Kyra,
he's Kyra, my bad. I think my woman's name. But Kyra Lewis, and he is
Pelicans G
roster
League.
G League. He's floating between there. He's a two-way type of guy.
Mm.
Jermichael Green.
And Michael Green still in the league.
Yeah, according to this he is. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but he's from the Gump,
Yeah.
Montgomery. So he's relatively G League-ish or overseas, but he definitely had an NBA career. I'll say that for sure.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're putting out some level of NBA players. You feel me? So we're not just completely out here just talking stuff, man. So uh, that can be you. I'm not gonna sit here and say pipe dream and say you can do it, but Jay Davidson is the most recent player that has came up from it. And a matter of fact, he wasn't even from a big school. He was like from a D2. I mean a D2,
Calhoun,
uh,
three
two
A.
A school, 3A. So it's possible to come out here and do your thing, man. But that goes back to exposure and you putting yourself out there to be exposed, man. So you don't have to be a son of an NBA player or to have those connections to be in the NBA, man. You can come from a 2A, 3A school, little Calhoun, do your thing, put your team, your city, and the rest of the state on the map, and represent. You feel me? Um,
Sir.
so yeah. Now I do want to kind of get into this last little bit of seeing where you stand on this, man. So we talked about guys who are sons of NBA players, man. Um, and I was kind of thinking about this one day and thinking, like LeBron has a lot of pressure on him, man. Like he came out um, maybe seventh or eighth grade when he first started really hearing about him hooping and like, oh, LeBron James Jr. He da 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 whatever. Hey, relax. It's okay. Listen, I understand that your goal is so big that it just feels daunting. It just feels overwhelming. Like you trying to get to the NBA, you trying to get to WNBA, you trying to play D1 college ball. I understand sometimes that feels like a lot, but listen, you're not gonna make that jump from now tomorrow to be to the league or be in D1. So let's just slow down and focus on the whole journey. Enjoy where you're at right now, but don't get too comfortable. You have to still keep working. You still have to make some type of progress and still keep growing. All you gotta do is think about this. If the minimum I can do today is get 1% better, you winning. Because there are some people gonna take a step backwards. There are some people that's gonna stop and just be equal. But technically you're not gonna be equal because I'm getting better than you, so it means you fell backwards now. And so you gotta get 1% better. Because it's a slow grind from where you're at now to where you want to get to. You don't have to worry about taking over the world in one day. Just take over step by step, one piece at a time, 1% better. It's a whole journey. Okay, you got this goal that's just hanging over you, weighing you down. But this goal, the end destination, it's not gonna change. So you have to appreciate the journey and taking steps to get there. You're a marathon runner, but the whole marathon is about focusing on that next step. So I need you to go ahead and look at whichever one you want. You can get this one of the other ones. But I need you to get this reminder for you. Get you a hoodie, a t-shirt, whichever one, as a reminder that progress is my only goal. And progress don't mean I'm perfect. Progress don't mean I'm there. Progress means I'm getting better. Because better and better adds up to being the best you that you can be. But the best is not existing because you're always going to get better. So get you this peaceful reminder right here to say, hey, all I gotta do is be a little bit better, 1% better, and I'll get to that goal at some point. So remember, it's about the entire journey and not just the end goal, because progress is on the goal. So I was thinking, man, who has more pressure on them? Is it the sons of former NBA players? Like, does Bronny feel more pressure? Or Bronny's a high example, but Bronny, like Klay Thompson, the Curry boys, did Austin Rivers feel a lot of pressure because he was a high caliber player? Did Cole Anthony feel a lot of pressure, even though his dad wasn't, that level of player? Shaq and his son, do they feel more pressure and weight on them, or do like the Zions and the Mellow Balls and those caliber guys, like the guys who kind of like come in with all this level of hype of just being so special? So do the sons of these great players have more pressure, or do like LeBron James is actually in the other category of this? Like the LeBron James feel more pressure being like the chosen one or the next one up, the next guy. Which one
Mm,
feels more pressure? So what do you think, man?
that's a good question. So I would probably say it's kind of funny because I would say LeBron himself probably had more pressure than Bronny does, just because of everything that went into LeBron coming up, the phenom, the next one, the chosen one, the king, whatever. You know, drafted by Cleveland from Cleveland. Like from drafted there, supposed to save his franchise, like stuff like that. But no one has
Mhm.
had that kind of pressure like LeBron.
I would say
Like
Brian
no,
LeBron don't count, bro. That's all time
yeah,
pressure, bro.
all time, like completely different. Like, but somebody like Zion, who was like a phenom in high school and stuff, so highly touted, like everybody looking forward to what he's going to do. I would say someone like a LeBron James. Like, I mean, I would say someone like a Bronny or someone like a Sharif O'Neal or guys that I would say they have more pressure than them. I would say the sons of former NBA players probably have more pressure. I would say that because number one, their dad is putting the pressure on them. Like, like I ain't saying they like, oh man, you gotta be as good as me, but like their dads are like pushing them to be like NBA players. Because I mean, I already know, like you feel me, like I'm a basketball player, so I know I have a son. I'm going to tell my son like, hey, if you gonna play basketball, like I'm finna put like you finna work. Like I'm finna put you to work. Like I'm finna show you what it takes to be good. So their dads are like, hey man, if you want to do this, you need to do this. If you want to go to college, you better do this. You better learn this. You better get better at this. So their dads are putting that pressure on them in their own household. Not saying, they working on the deal, obviously. But that's number one. And then number two, when you are a LeBron James Jr. or a Tim Hardaway Jr., a Kenyon Martin Jr., your name is pressure. Like everybody, like kids might not know your name, like when you 7, 8, 9, 10. But once you get in high school and everybody kind of know the game of basketball, they gonna look at you like, oh, Kenyon Martin, your daddy, that's crazy. Then shoot, you're supposed to be that dude. Like they're gonna
Mhm.
look at you different because it's like there's no way you're not good. Like, oh, your daddy was Kenyon Martin. I watch your daddy highlights, like this and that. So like you're supposed to be that deal. So like when you got their name, like if what's his name? Like like Shaq is kind of a strange example. I can't really think of that. Clay Thompson, that's a good one. Clay Thompson's dad is David Thompson. And he
No, no,
not a
no. Michael Thompson.
Michael. Why David Thompson is a different big player.
Yeah.
Michael Thompson. Clay Thompson's dad is Michael Thompson. But most people don't know who that is unless you just know basketball really well. Like you just deep into basketball, or maybe you from the city that he played in, whatever. So you watch his games. But Michael Thompson is not like a all time great, for everybody to know. So then Clay comes around, everybody don't know his dad is a pro, as an NBA player, unless you just know that about him. So he don't have that same pressure. So in that instance, I would say a Zion Williamson had more because he's so known. Everybody expects him to be good. If Clay Thompson never makes it, no one says, dang, Michael Thompson's son didn't make it to the NBA. That's crazy. No one says that.
Mhm.
His dad might put it, but like I said, his dad putting pressure on him, I'm sure to be great. Once he chose he wanted to be a basketball player, his dad's going to put pressure on him. But The world is not putting pressure on Klay Thompson to be good. Like I would say, the world would not have put pressure on Steph Curry to be good when his dad doggone it, don't tell me I forgot my man's name. Dale.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Curry. No one's looking at Dale Curry's kids like, dang, why didn't they make it? This your dad is Dale Curry. Like no one's gonna say that. So no, the world didn't put pressure on Steph Curry. But yeah, I'm sure his dad did. But that's why I saw everything is just depending on that. Like it's just different for every guy. Like Kenyon Martin Jr. probably had a little more pressure than Zion does or did in high school. But Klay Thompson probably didn't because his dad isn't as highly touted. So I guess I'll boil it down to say, if number one, if your dad was like an all time great or like a household name, let's say, an all star, whatever, like people know your dad's name, and then you have his name, that's going to be that's going to be the pressure, where the pressure comes from, you know. And then and then you'll have, I feel like that will cause you to have more pressure than like a high school superstar or phenom or whatever. Because like then it's just like, if you're a high school phenom, it's like, oh, okay, let's see what he does on the next level. So that's less pressure, but it ain't everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I look at it. It's just depending on everybody's situation. And, everybody's situation can be a little bit different, so it gets a little tricky. But that I would say that's what it boils down to.
So you would say is if your dad was an all time great or like like I said, a household name, and or you're a junior, that's like level one pressure. Level two
Mm.
would be like phenom, like a Zion, who just you did your thing and now you know your name now. Level three would be like a Klay Thompson type who, yeah, your dad's an NBA player, but like without a certain level of fame and recognition from you, we wouldn't know. So that's kind of how you would
Mm.
break it down.
Actually, yes. Like those tiers are like perfect. Like Bronny James, like LeBron James Jr., Gary Payton II, um, Kenyon Martin Jr., like guys like that, those guys have the most pressure in my mind. Cause like you are recognizable by your name. Like you're walking around with an NBA name, whether you knew it or not at a young age. So when you pick up a basketball, people gonna expect to see something. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the number one tier. Like, oh shoot, what you said dude named Kenyon Martin Jr.? That Kenyon Martin son? You know how many times that probably happened to him?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Kenyon Martin, like he's his son. And
Mm-hmm.
now they looking at you. They probably ain't watching the game. They watching you to see what you finna do. Like, oh, he got to be like great. So that's number one. And then number two is gonna be like a Zion, a Lamelo, Lonzo Ball, guys like that, to where it's like, oh shoot, that's Lamelo Ball. I see him on Ball His Life. I see him on House of Highlights. I can't believe I get to see him in person. So now they watching you because you kind of a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you don't perform, it's gonna be disappointing, but it's not like, you let the world down. It's just like, oh man, I saw LaMelo play in real life. He wasn't really like that, or he wasn't all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how they look at guys like that. And then that third tier is like, oh, your dad's an NBA player, but like no one knows for real. Like unless they just know you or know him. So
Mm-hmm.
like the world wasn't looking at Klay Thompson coming up how we do LeBron James son. Like the world wasn't watching Steph Curry coming up like we watched. Um Probably Cole Anthony or Tim Hardaway Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the tiers. I would go there. That was a good way to put it.
Yeah, I would have to agree, man. But I think I do have to agree with one thing you said, where the NBA players are putting pressure on the kids, and I forgot who said it, but they broke it down like this, man. Um, he said a lot of parents get this wrong with parenting their kids, and the reason why a lot of NBA players don't put the pressure on their kids to be the second coming is because, for one, parents put that pressure on their kids because they didn't make it, so now my dreams have to be fulfilled through you. But I made it. I did my thing. I did it so you can be free to choose what you want to do. So you want to hoop? Cool, do your thing. You don't want to hoop? Cool, do your thing. I've set the lifestyle to where you have options now. Like I was coming from the hood, bro. Like I didn't have too many options. It was like a lot of black folks say, man, it's rap, sell dope, NBA. For down here's the NFL. So We had very few options in between. So it's like, well, I tried the dope game. I had a homie get killed, so I'm not gonna go down that route. You know, I was good enough in sports to where I was able to do something. And some people still try to rap. Might not be as main or as public, but we still try to rap now. Don't get that wrong. And so we kind of like
We still be looking at it.
we hear freestyle come on and we try to, show our thing. But but it's not that the pressure that they do put on them is more of like, if this is what you want to do, this is what's gonna happen. It's kind of like that once you get to a certain age, usually around high school, decision making time, bro. So if you're trying to hoop and do what I did, I'm laying out the path, let you know what happens. This is the blueprint that you have to follow. The pressure comes in after that. It's more of accountability rather than the pressure from that. So dad's holding you accountable to say, bro, like Gil Arena said this with his son, like, nothing to force you to do nothing. I could care less, bro. I made it. I did my thing. But now, when I say I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to go train, if you're not with me, that's on you. When I say I'm waking up at 5 and your sister coming, you not coming, that's on you, bro. And I'm gonna hold you accountable when it comes to not doing it. So when I say waking up at 5 and 6 to train, you didn't come, which you asked me to do X, Y, and Z, buy you these shoes. No, that's not how it works, bro. You have to earn your keep it. You have to earn these things here. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what kind of is the separator between NBA parents, training their kids versus the average Joe who didn't make it training their kids. The pressure comes in from the parents who didn't make it because now I can make it to the NBA, so now I'm going to force it onto you. So I think that's kind of what the separator is. Like I forgot who said it, man, but they're just like, man, I don't force nothing on my kids, bro. Like I came from nothing, man. So they got a whole different lifestyle than I had. So there ain't no pressure on them like I had, man. So um, I've heard that from multiple guys, man. But somebody said it and broke it down like that. I was like, dang, that makes sense. But but I would have to agree with your tiers, bro. Like that makes a lot of sense. But I think there's a gray area within the tiers. So somebody like who's a good example? I think Austin Rivers is probably a really good example to where
Mm-hmm.
like Doc Rivers was a known name, and it's like, oh, you Doc's son, okay. So he was a tier 3 guy to where it's like, oh, you just Austin Rivers. It's like, okay, whatever. But then he got to a point where it was like, oh, he can really play. He's becoming a phenom. So like
Mm-hmm.
you had a group of people who were like, oh, this Doc Rivers son. There's a group of people like, oh, he's phenom, but he was like the dude. He was like top ranked guy for like I don't remember. He was like top ranked guy in the nation for a minute. He was like up there, especially in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy in Florida. Like he was
Had a
rocking
hoop
Florida.
mixtape.
He was one of them dudes. He was hoop mixtape kind of a dude. So he started off level 3, but he grew to be a level 2 guy, like you were saying, a phenom type guy. So then he became a blend between 1 and 2, where we're knowing him as Doc Rivers' son, and we're knowing him as the phenom hoop mixtape guy. So he probably one of the few guys who experienced all 3 tiers of pressure. Because we all know you Doc Rivers' son, or we know you hoop phenom type guy. So now you push into level 1 where it's like, oh, if you don't make it, we're looking at you sideways, bro. And so, like you said, like I think the most pressure does come from the level 1 guys when you're a junior or your dad is a big enough name because forever, when you 38 years old and we're looking at you, you look kind of familiar, man. You look like Jordan, 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 Jordan. You Michael Jordan's son? Oh, why ain't you hoop?
Why you?
Oh,
I know they probably got that for real. I know they really get that all the time, bro. Why you ain't play basketball?
they were probably
Um,
sick, bro. Like I, I, I
I did
played, I did. Like I
University
had
of
a whole
Central
college
Florida.
career. Like I did my thing. Like I just didn't go pro. Like that's kind of like that's something that you never have to like. You can never shake that, bro. So like it's even worse if you're a junior. Oh, you junior? That's your dad? Oh snap! But why you working at Target? Not Target. Let's not say Target. Like,
AT&T.
oh, why you working at McDonald's with me, bro? Nah, I ain't trying to go that low, but you know what I mean. Like, it's a job that you would
Yeah.
not expect. You'd be like I think Michael Jordan's sons right now, they're I think one son works under the Hornets. I think the other son works under Jordan Brand Company. I think that's what both of his sons are doing now. I think so. Don't hold me to it. Look it up for yourself because I don't remember. So they're doing. I'm pretty sure doing well off life. I'm pretty sure they're making 6 figures plus. They ain't stressing. Like they living pretty good lives.
Yeah, they fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Their dad's a billionaire, bro. I'm pretty sure they're making 6 to 7 figures. Like let's just because they didn't have an NBA career did not mean that they're feds in life. So let's clear that very very soon right now. So, um, but I do feel like there's a level of stress that you constantly have. It's like, oh, you're D Wade son. Oh, you're LeBron James son. You're Carmelo's son. I forgot about him. Carmelo's son who been doing his thing
Oh
too.
yeah.
Like, there's a level of just like, oh, you're such and such son. You're such like CP3 son gonna have to go through that at some point. Like, you're never going to outlive the fact that you're such and such son or you're such and such junior. That's just all time life pressure because some people are going to be so simple minded to say, oh, so why aren't you just great as your dad? You mean one of the greatest players, like the top 10 in his position all time? You want to be that? That's what you want me to do? Oh, sorry. I can't be the nobody gonna say that for like Steve Jobs, son. Like, why
You
aren't you
don't got
build
your own company.
why aren't you build the next Apple? Why didn't you build Tesla? Excuse me? you, you want me
Why you ain't start a multi-billion-dollar corporation?
you failed, bro.
Sorry, bro. I tried. You know.
I mean, hey, everybody can't be a once in a generation genius and just change the life of billions of people across the nation like that. I'm sorry, man. So
I mean, I got my degree in business administration,
I went
but
to
like I
Harvard
was,
Law. I mean, I went to Harvard or Yale or whoever. Went to business school, Stanford. I went to the highest schools in the country. I had a summa cum laude, or whatever name the title is for the highest graduates or whatever, and doing pretty good in law. I'm a pretty good lawyer, making 7 8 figures, just a little low key.
you know, sorry, not creating cell phones for the entire world to use.
Sorry, man. I didn't invent Wi-Fi to try to change lives. I'm sorry, bro. I'm a failure because I'm not a billionaire. All right. And that's how we sound sometimes, being like, so why aren't you as great as your dad? Bro, my dad has the most points of any NBA player in the history. Shut up. I can't do that. Like,
I tried, bro. I promise.
ain't like I didn't try to be good. Like, come on, man. Like, that's how
Man,
people
like, ain't no,
sound, bro. It's
like
sad.
nobody coming up to y'all talking about why you don't drive trucks like your daddy. Um, I don't know, bro. I mean, I guess I could, maybe, possibly. Like, no one
Oh,
says that. Oh my
that's funny.
goodness, that is funny. But
So
yeah,
yeah, I
there's
think that's
definitely
just the
levels to
weird
it.
spot that we. It's just the weird spot that we see a lot of players have to live with, man. You can't shake it, bro. So I feel like that's the tiering system, and I think Austin Rivers is probably the anomaly and like the outlier of our system because he's all 3 tiers,
Yeah, he
and like
crossed into yeah.
yes, he started off level 3 because it's just like, oh, you Doc Rivers son, all right, cool. But he became so good on his own that he became a level 2, and now he got to a point where Doc Rivers is, oh, you're coach Doc Rivers, like that's Doc Rivers, not just the NBA guy, but like especially when he got to the Celtics team, 08. I think in
Everybody
'08
knew
he had to be I think he came out like 11. He's class of 11, somewhere around there. Went to Duke. Did his thing. Got drafted in 12. I think that's how his lifetime. I mean, his cycle went somewhere around there.
him.
And so, um, so he crossed in like all 3 tiers. So start off, oh, he's Doc Rivers' son. All right, cool, whatever. Oh, you can actually hoop. You ball. You got hoop mixtape and Baller's Life and so on and so forth. You can actually hoop, bro. Like you're top ranked in the nation. You definitely dominated Florida. Okay, cool. You're that guy. Doc Rivers win championship. Oh, you're Doc Rivers' son. Oh, we're putting all this together now. So he just came out. Oh, you have to be great. Boom. And now he's in the NBA doing his thing with the Nuggets, I believe he's hooping with. So he's probably the anomaly of all this to where he probably crosses all three of our genres, man, or all 3 tiers of this, man. But yeah, I think that's a fair ranking of it, man. So uh, I can even like counter. I think about the other side because You know, that was a good point, bro. I like that.
Solid. I mean, but yeah, it's levels to it, like all the pressures that come with it. I ain't gonna lie. At the end of the day, I envy all of them because, like, shoot, I love to be on House of Highlights and overtime and all that stuff. But at the same time, I don't know what it's like to have that pressure of being like, you you Dwayne Wade's son, ain't you? Like, I don't know what that's like. Like,
Mm-hmm.
shoot, I be feeling special when people be like, "Don't you play for Columbus State?" I be like, "Yeah, man, that's me." So on campus the other day, not the other day, like, but this past year, I won Defensive Player of the Year and stuff. I was walking around campus. They was like, shoot, that go to DPOY. Like, hey, man, I saw you won Defensive Player of the Year, man. Like, folks dap me up, folks I never met, on campus, like other students and stuff. I'm feeling good about that. And then that put pressure
Mm-hmm.
on me for next year because it's like, dang, boy, now you Defensive Player of the Year, you got to defend that. You know what I'm saying? Now people
Mm-hmm.
see you as Defensive Player of the Year. So that's the only like levels of pressure I've ever like encountered to where it's like, man, you DPOY, bro. You supposed to do this, you supposed to do that. It's like, shoot, even when I go to the rec, I go to the rec up here and play against regular students. They're like, man, you supposed to be DPOY, bro. Like, so now ain't nobody supposed to score on me, huh?
Yep.
Now I got to go out here by 110%, make sure they don't score. Meanwhile, they giving 110% to score because they know I'm
Yep.
DPOY. Like, come on, bro. I'm not in here for that. Like, I'm not doing
Yep.
that today. So that's the only like pressures I've ever had. Like, not ever, but like that's like the biggest pressure I've had when it comes to like having a name. So that's about the only one I can think of for me to even begin to understand what they be going through. But I cannot imagine like being like from a kid being like, "Ain't you Carmelo Anthony's son?" I can't imagine what that was like. And he probably was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, that's my dad." Man,
Mm-hmm.
I know you hooping this and that, bro. I'm gonna watch your game. Now you got to hoop. Now folks
Yep.
be don't let you do bad. Now they probably sing, you ain't nothing like your dad. I thought you was bad. You ain't bad. You ain't nothing. Oh my god.
Oh man,
I
that's
hope y'all ain't
stupid,
doing
bro.
them. I hope that's not how y'all doing them, man.
I'm pretty sure there's some people that's like that, bro. Like,
Somebody in this world that did that to them. All of
oh
them.
yeah,
Bronny, Zaire, Cayenne, Cole Anthony, Tim Hardaway Jr. They did all of them. Like I know somebody that did all of them like that at some point. I thought you was
oh
bad.
yeah.
You ain't bad. You ain't nothing. I
Oh
know,
man,
bro. Oh yeah, man. Please don't do them like that, guys. And all future
I think
generations.
I think it's even worse, bro. If you play the same or close enough position to your dad,
Now you
it's
gotta
a
be him.
wrap. It's a wrap. Cause you like Bronny has a slight bailout. 6'3" versus 6'9". Like, okay, you're definitely not a point forward like your dad. You're
Yeah.
definitely a guard. Like that's just abundantly clear. So you're
Right.
not gonna be a dad. Like that's just obvious. Like there's no way for you to be unless you hit a 5-inch growth spurt out the blue, which is more likely not gonna happen like that. You might hit a couple inches, might end up being 6'5", but you're not gonna be 6'9", bro. Like you're not gonna hit that big of a jump.
That's
So
just not gonna happen.
yeah. So like Tim Hardaway Jr., his dad was maybe 6'3". Tim Hardaway ended up being like 6'5", 6'6". Austin Rivers, he's like 6'5". No, I don't think he's six. Maybe I think he's about 6'3", 6'4". Dad's about the same height. So I'm pretty sure he was like, you need to be like your dad, do X, Y, and Z. Bro, I'm getting buckets out here. Forget my dad, bro. He was
Broken
passing.
buckets.
He was he get out to Dominique and he was playing defense. I am getting buckets out here, bro. I don't call me Doc Rivers. I am Austin. Austin gets buckets. Okay, that's what we do. Dad used to get a ball to Dominique. Dominique dunk. He go back and play defense. Turn around and get a ball back to Dominique. I'm getting buckets out. Y'all get a ball to me and I'll go score. I'll cross y'all up, get buckets. So like Tim Hardaway Jr. Yeah, I'm gonna break your ankle a little bit, but I got a sniper on me too, bro. I'm got a strap on me. I'm gonna shoot that thing way better than my daddy did. He might have the handles on me, but I'm gonna splash every one of these threes in your eye every single time. So I think like that sucks, man. If you like close enough to size or height of your dad, I think it's even worse, man. Because people be like, oh, this Shaq 2.0 right there. No, bro. My dad was 7 foot 300 pounds. Don't do that. I'm 6'8".
6'8", 220.
Nope.
It's not the same.
So yeah, man. I think that's worse, bro. Like if you end up being some suit towards similar of your dad, like don't mess around how the name and the body, like Tim Hardaway, like
Cole
man,
Anthony.
that's terrible, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, I don't think nobody else has to deal with that. Like what we think about, we'll see, because we got a couple guys from high school that still kind of going through their steps and processes, man. But
And they on the way.
nope, yeah, they on the way. Like Cayenne, he's still pretty young, so he might develop and hit close to 6'8", 6'9", man. But I
Bryce.
think everybody's pretty
Yeah.
safe. Bryce is different because he doesn't have the name. He's a
He's
James, but he doesn't
Bryce.
have.
But
He's not LeBron, you know.
true.
And I think he might have a little more pressure on him too because he's the technically the third coming because he's younger.
Yeah. So now it's like, man, your brothers did this and that. So now you supposed to do this and that. So yeah. There's a whole nother thing added to him. There's tier 1.A B 1A, 1B. You got an older brother.
That's a whole nother discussion, man. Like the sibling whole thing because there's so many siblings we have in the league, bro. Like
Oh
that could
yeah,
be a whole nother
totally.
episode, bro. Like
It really could be. So I know what that's like though, because I got an older brother that played in front of me, and then luckily I mean I ain't gonna say luckily, but he started at 6'2". Not I'm tripping. My brother started at 5'10", and I shot up to 6'5", 6'6" in high school. So clearly, I mean I was meant to be the better player. And basketball, so that's just what it was. But I definitely had an older brother in front of me, so yeah, that could have been that could be a whole another episode.
yeah, man. So y'all let
That's
us know,
all I
man. If y'all interested in hearing about that being another episode about how the younger siblings are the best siblings, which is not a debate.
Oh
So
yeah, we both was the babies, ain't we?
yeah, man. I'm the youngest of four. So
Yeah.
I would gladly stand on that ground of the younger siblings are the best siblings. So
Yeah, we got a lot to agree on right there. So
so yeah, man. But that's it for me, man. I think that was a good episode, a good discussion around being the blood of a legend, or not even just a legend, just a NBA player like that, man. Which is technically still a legend in the basketball scheme of things, but
hmm
that's a good discussion. I feel like you know, some people need to hear, So that's all I got, man. You can close this out since you said you were done, man. But that's a good episode.
all right, man. Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. Um, I hope y'all got something out of it, man. Please don't talk crazy to NBA players' sons. I was being. I know somebody really did that, bro. I know, bro,
Yep.
and I know they probably broke their little spirit. Like, dang, bro. Like,
Yep. Yep.
I suck. You don't suck, bro. Like, you just had a bag.
Yeah, one turnover, bro. I'm sorry, man. It's all good.
Man, especially your dad, LeBron. You threw the like. Let's say you just threw that junk out of bounds. That just, like you thought they were gonna backdoor, so you threw that junk out of bounds. Folks are still like, oh.
Oh, he sucked, man. Ah, he's trash.
I knew you weren't gonna be your dad. But man, that does it for another episode of BeBall Jones podcast, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Drop down in the comments. Let us know, let us know who is the best NBA player son. Like, other than Steph Curry. I feel like Steph Curry might get it.
Kobe.
Oh yeah, technically yeah, Kobe. Forgot Kobe was in the league.
Well, Kobe don't count. Besides Kobe and Steph. All right,
Yeah.
who's next?
Who is after those guys and like NBA player sons? Or like who's the best of them? And who's like the next best coming NBA player son? Is it Ronnie? Is it Cayenne? Is it is it
Boozer Boys?
Yeah, the Boozer Boys, the twins. So who's like an NBA player son playing right now that y'all see being like the next like big thing, like gonna be in the NBA soon? So y'all let us know about that too. But anyway, man, y'all be sure to follow mine on all social medias at BeBall Jones. That's BeBall Jones on all social media platforms. Be sure to go follow him up over there. You can follow me on Twitter at NellyH34, at Nelson.Haskell on IG, and you can find me my name on Facebook. And we keep the conversation going on over there. Be sure to follow the podcast on TikTok. You can see it going across the bottom of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. That's where you find all our snippets and clips from whole episodes that we think y'all enjoy. So go follow us over there and like up what we already got posted. And yeah, man, that does it for us here at the BeBall Jones Podcast. Once again, we appreciate y'all for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another great episode. It might be an interview. It might be a debate. It might just be us chopping it up again. So y'all, got to tune in and find out. But thank you again for listening. And without further ado, we out.